Hi, I'm Bailey.
And I'm Hannah.
And welcome to Sports for the Girlies. This is Flipping the Bird.
This segment is explaining UTSA sports with pop culture references.
And today specifically we'll be focusing on football and the rivalry between UT and UTSA.
Yes.
So I want to start off by saying I feel like our UTSA football team is Chapel Roan. If you know anything about Chapel Roan, you know that she's been in the industry for about 10 years now, but she didn't really take off until I want to say maybe a year ago now.
Yeah.
And now she's being nominated for all these Grammys and she's winning and she's doing amazing. And I feel like that's our football team.
Yeah, because I mean, we've only had a football team since 2011. And so I feel like this year specifically, we've kind of been getting our name out more, kind of getting our hat into the ring, you know, becoming competitive with a lot of other schools too.
Yeah, I definitely think so. Like the last couple of years, we've definitely been like coming up in our ranks and getting what we need. And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and too, like, bringing it back to Chapel Roan, like they've been playing Chapel Roan's Hot to Go at the football games, which is so exciting to hear. Like whenever we're in the press box, it's like, oh.
I get so excited. I wish I could dance in the press box. I love doing the dance, guys.
Right.
So
the rivalry?
The rivalry, yeah.
Rivalry.
Yeah, it's not really a rivalry in all honesty.
I mean, the first game that we had with UT won 41-20, which isn't too bad, but I mean.
Yeah, and our second game, the most recent one, was 56-7. Yikes, that's like really bad, guys. That's like Britney Spears shaving her head type of bad. Like, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, and I feel like, you know, the fans are really competitive with each other just because we are sister schools, and so I kind of feel like we need to work it out on the remix, you know, work it out on the field, because again, we're sister schools, but you know, that's what makes us so competitive with each other.
Yeah, it's also like we're not even really on the same level. Like we compete in different conferences and different champions. This is just like a fun game for us too. And it's actually, I don't know if you know this or if other people know this, but whenever a school at a higher rank plays a school at a lower rank, the higher rank school pays the lower rank school to play them. And so we're quite literally paid to go play UT, and we still do really bad, guys. But it's like, it's kind of like Olivia Rodrigo and Taylor Swift. Like, they are not on the same level at all, but people always put them on the same level, or like sometimes their fans will be like, oh my god, like they hate each other, or like Olivia Rodrigo is so obsessed with Taylor Swift. Like, no, we're just trying to do our own thing.
Yeah, and it's kind of like Taylor Swift's been in the industry for so long, and UT's been a school for a really long time, and they've had a football team since almost the beginning of, you know, their school. And like Olivia Rodrigo is obviously a little bit newer to the industry, and so I kind of feel like that perfectly like encapsulates like the situation that's been brewing.
No, it's so true, because it's just like they're not on the same level at all, and their fans compare each other, but they don't want to be compared. Like I know a lot of UTSA students don't like being compared to UT because we're not the same school at all.
Yeah, and I feel like to use the word rivalry, it's kind of a little bit controversial, because whenever you think of rivalry for UTSA, you think of the I-35 rivalry with Texas State.
Yeah, and like for UT, you think of the Oklahoma University.
Like the Texas State rivalry for UTSA, like I feel like UT really doesn't, like their community really doesn't think of UTSA as like a rival. You know, they just see us as a competitor. Like they know we're not on the same level, but I
honestly think they just see it as like something funny. Like if I went to UT, I'd find it funny. I'd be like, oh, we're going to play UTSA, we're going to destroy this team.
Yeah, but I feel like too, like as our football team progresses and learns and starts growing with each other, you know, especially with their new quarterback, like I feel like potentially there could be a rivalry brewing, but you know, in the future perhaps.
I think we need a lot more years for that rivalry to grow. I don't think it's going to come in like a couple of years. I think it'll take a decent amount of time. I think we need to get our feet off the ground, put a couple more years behind our back, you know. And so, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, and we've said this before, kind of like to each other, but like UTSA, they're really in a growth period with their athletics right now.
Almost definitely.
Like, it's going to take a little bit for us to kind of reach a level where we can say we have a rivalry with UT, but for now, it's kind of like something that is going to be like projected for the future maybe.
Yeah, I think it's more of just a fun game, even for both teams. Like, I don't think either team should go into it thinking it's a rivalry and just go into it thinking, I think it's more of like, we get to play against this really good team and we're learning a lot from it. Like, we're going to grow from this.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of shows like with our opening games and stuff, and even though we haven't had the best season, I think we're still learning a lot this season, especially with our newer players and our new quarterback.
Yeah, and like we're kind of gaining traction, kind of like Olivia Rodrigo right now. Like she just did her like world tour with a bunch of arenas, and she's been gaining like a lot of publicity. And I feel like that's again like where we are like as a school right now. Like we keep being mentioned in different places, kind of popping up in like random places, even if it's like not great press. You know, we're still being mentioned, and I think that's kind of good for the school either way.
Yeah, I think our football team can definitely go really far, like Olivia Rodrigo, and grow. Like, she was small and now she's getting bigger. And like the same thing with Chapel, like she's blowing up, she's getting huge. And I think that's definitely how it's going to be with us.
Yeah. And so, I mean, that's pretty much all
I think that's what we have for today.
That's all I have for Flipping the Bird. Thank you for listening, and to make sure to keep an eye out for all new content with our sports podcast.
Saturdays are for the girls.
I'm Haley, and this is my co-host Rylan, and you're watching Flipping the Bird. This week we'll be discussing the games that happened this week. We missed out on men's basketball because North Dakota couldn't find a charter flight, couldn't get a flight out here, not really sure what, but I know we missed out on men's basketball. We got a women's basketball game, we got a volleyball game. We missed a bye week with football, but we got to see some fall baseball. So let's first talk about the basketball game we did see. Women's basketball, Ryan, you covered that. Tell us a little about what you saw, some of the new players, some of our returning veterans.
So yeah, women's basketball picking up a big win against UT RGV at the Convocation Center. Returning players, Sydney Love, double-digit assists, 11 assists I believe, 21 points, great first home outing. And we saw some action from freshman guard Damara Allen, and she played a key role, especially in the second half. Key blocks on defense, free throws, clutch free throws. So kind of an all-around game. What you wanted to see, Coach Karen asked to touch on in their post-game press conference, getting a mix of veterans and newcomers. Obviously, Jordan Jenkins is great. We know this already.
We got to see a returning veteran. When she first got here, she was a transfer from USC. We got to spend the last 2 seasons with her in her final year at basketball. She posted a picture saying this was her first home game, which we're so sad about, but we're happy to see her move on with her senior year. She was the first player, I think, third player ever in CUSA when we're still Conference USA to win all 3 awards, which was Athlete of the Week. What else do we have? CUSA Player of the Year and First Team All Conference, as well as Newcomer of the Year. So it was fantastic to have her part of the team, and we're super excited to see her again this season. Let's move on to volleyball. We got to cover a little bit of volleyball today. How was covering your first volleyball game ever?
Well, you know, all I'm saying is I covered the volleyball game and we finally win, so just kind of connecting the dots there a little bit. But yeah, volleyball picked up a big win against FAU today. Sweep, actually. It's their 7th sweep of the year, and it's always good to do that, but doing it against a conference opponent just means a little bit more. And on senior day, nonetheless, right? Alicia Coppage, who we'll talk about a little bit later on, and what's her name?
Faye Wilbright.
Yes, and it was a great win for those guys to go out on. We saw excellence on both sides of the ball. Defensively, I think Mia Sorensen had some key blocks, and then offensively, guys kind of doing their thing what we're used to at this point. So great overall win, and the players seem super hyped up about it.
Oh yeah, let's talk a little about Coppage. She got in 8 blocks today, and her, I believe, as UTSA announced at their game, her first assist in her last home game. Her last home game ever, which was huge for Coppage. The 2 seniors got to celebrate their senior day today, as well as some old seniors. We got to see Ellie Turner come back and return to finally celebrate her senior day. And Ellie Turner's sister currently plays for volleyball at UTSA, Peyton Turner. So it was great to see that little family reunion and see them on court today.
Yep.
So you missed out on baseball, but I sat through 14 innings in
very cold
65-degree weather. That's what I get for not checking the weather app before I went out. But 14 innings, the lights finally turned off on the game during the 14th inning right at 8 p.m. So we didn't quite finish the game, but in their total shutout, we actually got to see Alvin Community College score 1 run compared to UTSA's 25 runs. We got to see a lot from Caden Miller, who's a newcomer. Coach calls him, he's a true freshman this year. He's new to the team, and I'm pretty sure he already nailed his spot. You know, we have cuts coming in for baseball until December, so Coach still has some people he needs to get rid of, but Coach Pratt Hallmark will get the game done, but he seems to like Caden Miller. He said he got a couple things in. He got to get his bases, he got to get a few runs in, and that Coach said he's a bright future, which is high words coming from Pat Hallmark.
Yeah, and you know the freshmen are going to play a big role in this upcoming season. Obviously, with the baseball team losing guys like Matt King on the mound, guys like Ruger Riojas, Caleb Hill graduated. So a lot of key contributors we won't see coming back for UTSA. So it's going to be a new look team, and the newcomers like Miller and guys like Jordan Ballin, who we've seen consistently perform throughout the fall. Those guys are going to really need to step up if we want to continue being good at baseball. We've been good at baseball these past couple of years, so just kind of continuing to develop these new people and letting Coach Hallmark do his thing, because I trust Coach Hallmark personally.
Oh yeah, and aside from track, I would say baseball's our second. Oh, as well as football, but baseball's a good producer. I mean, we have Simon Miller, who's in the minor leagues right now, which is really great for him. He was drafted by who? Cincinnati Reds.
The Reds, yeah, correct.
So that was awesome to see. But people like James Tossig, and we have our other guys that don't need to find a spot on the team. They got secured way before this fall bout even started. But moving on, talking about people not returning the team, having to rely on new people.
Yeah.
We've faced a lot of those issues or those opportunities in football this year. Last year we lost 18 seniors, I believe.
Something like that.
Something like that. And it's been kind of a while for UTSA to make those adjustments, but the culture still, in my opinion, seems to be there. Coach Jeff Traylor is still trying to bring his team up, and we've actually seen them succeed in the past few weeks.
Yeah, it's good to see those guys turn things around. There's going to be some growing pains when you lose guys like Frank Harris, Rashad Wisdom, Joshua Cephas to the NFL or retirement. And I know fans, it's hard for them to see their team struggle, especially with the success they've been having over the past couple of years. But it just takes time, and we're seeing that with Owen McCown, who I believe is 8th in the nation right now in touchdowns, passing yards. He's maturing in front of our very eyes. So guys like that, and obviously a big theme of the year has been penalties, which I believe truly is another symptom of growing pains. You lost a lot of leaders, we mentioned, so just things starting to get worked out. We've been getting some big wins. Beat our first ranked opponent in Memphis, who was number 25 on the coaching poll. So there's signs as the season goes on that things are starting to come together. I know this isn't the season that fans have been hoping for, but it's just part of the process. UTSA has seen that firsthand, obviously, in the time of Larry Coker and the time of Frank Wilson, and we're seeing it for the first time with Jeff Traylor, and I don't think it's anything to be afraid of.
I don't think so either. I think Traylor will be able to help the team bounce back next year, and he's even banned the word penalties. But thank you for tuning in for Flipping the Bird this week.
God bless and birds up.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our other videos, as well as following on other platforms to keep up with exciting news.